Well, Rishi Sunak has scripted history and is all set to take over as the UK Prime Minister. He will be the first ever Indian origin member to take over the reins of UK. This after his contender Penny Mordaunt withdrew from the race as she failed to muster enough numbers to contest for the Conservative Party leader's post. Sunak, on the other hand, received a wave of support of the Tory MPs, with over 160 of them declaring support to him. Sunak will be the first leader of colour and the first Hindu to take up the top in United Kingdom. At 42, he is also the youngest Prime Minister in more than 200 years.
I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to. The United Kingdom is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity, and I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together.
Well, the task is cut out for the new Prime Minister as UK battles economic challenges. The rising energy price has also hit the households hard, with energy bills expected to rise significantly. The cost of living has also risen, with retail inflation in double digits. And then Sunak will have to take steps to revive the economic growth, which is stalled at the moment. Now, on the political front as well, the challenge will be to ensure that there is a stability of the government, with two leadership changes in just the last 2 months. Well, let's also get you more reactions. The former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss, in her speech outside the 10 Downing Street, congratulated Rishi Sunak and further extended her support to the new Prime Minister.
I wish Rishi Sunak every success for the good of our country. I want to thank Hugh, Francis, Liberty, my family and friends, and all the team at Number 10 for their love, friendship and support. I also want to thank my protection team. I look forward to spending more time in my constituency and continuing to serve South West Norfolk from the backbenches. Our country continues to battle through a storm. But I believe in Britain. I believe in the British people. And I know that brighter days lie ahead.
All right, Times Now contributor Danish Khan is joining us live from London. Danish, a lot of excitement and the kind of celebrations that went on after Rishi Sunak, it became certain that he will be the UK Prime Minister. What is happening there currently, and when is he expected to take oath of office? Danish?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, what's expected today? Rishi Sunak, of course, expected to meet King Charles today. When is he expected to take oath of office?
Well, Liz Truss is on her way to Buckingham Palace, where she will tender her resignation to the King. After that, Rishi Sunak will make his way to Buckingham Palace, and then the King will formally invite him to form the government, and Rishi Sunak will then officially be the Prime Minister of United Kingdom. After the meeting, after the audience with King Charles III at Buckingham Palace, Rishi Sunak will then drive down to 10 Downing Street, where he will then address the gathered members of the media. That will be his first significant interaction with the media after his appointment. Yesterday, when the results came out, he did speak, but that was a very brief and short speech, just over a minute. And it was entirely in the character of things, because till yesterday, Liz Truss was still the Prime Minister. But today, before noon, UK time, Rishi Sunak will be back at 10 Downing Street after his audience with King Charles III, and will then make a statement on which everyone have their eyes set. Expectations are very high. The media and the wider public is waiting to hear what Rishi Sunak has to say after he assumes officially the role of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and makes history today here in the United Kingdom.
Okay, all right. Danish, thank you for joining us with those updates. We'll, of course, continue coming back to you as and when there are updates coming in from the United Kingdom. But to get a deeper sense of what it's like, the kind of change that's expected, the kind of hopes that are pinned on Rishi Sunak, joining us on the broadcast is Dr. Yukteswar Kumar, ex-deputy mayor, and Pinak Ranjan Chakravarty, former secretary of the MEA, as well as Achal Malhotra, former Indian ambassador. Very, very big day in the United Kingdom. Dr. Yukteswar, how significant do you think Rishi Sunak's elevation to the Prime Minister is?
It is a very, very significant day for the Indians and for the Indian diaspora all over the world. But I would like to remind everybody that it is not because Rishi Sunak is a person of color or comes from ethnic minority. In 2012, exactly 10 years ago, the former Prime Minister of the country, David Cameron, had already predicted that in the UK, we will have a British Prime Minister from India. Rishi deserves it. I have seen him working so hard. I have met him in Bristol, just half an hour from my town. And he, although comes from really a very humble background. His parents are just doctor. His father is a doctor. His mother is a pharmacist. But on his own merit, he became a millionaire, not billionaire. His father-in-law might be a billionaire. His wife might have 800 million pounds. But he worked hard. And as David Cameron saw in him, as the former leader of the Conservative Party, William Hague, from where he was elected in 2015, because William Hague, he retired in Yorkshire, and then he became MP of that area. And, you know, he was not born in Yorkshire. He comes from Southampton. But because of his grounding in the best schools, and that to be on his merit, because of his training at Oxford, because of his training at Stanford, because of his belief, as he says, that my faith gives me a strength, it gives me purpose. He, as we all know, is a practitioner Hindu.
Yes.
And he believes in the theory of karma, theory of Gita. And these values are the values that has made him to grab the highest echelons of power in the British history.
Okay. In fact, you know, you're very closely associated with him as well. You were also associated with his campaign, Dr. Yukteswar. So perhaps you would be best placed to talk about his meteoric rise. And, you know, previously as well, there was a lot of thought that he would become the Prime Minister, but he lost out closely to Liz Truss. This time around, a lot has changed. He as well in his personal life has seen a lot of challenges, a lot of people in Britain as well seeing him as somebody who is not in touch with what the situation is like, a lot of criticism that he received for the financial decisions that he had taken. But like you mentioned, he's somebody who has reached here on his own merit. Now he has the backing of all the Tory MPs, you know, massive backing that he had. So it's been a meteoric rise to where he is now.
Well, he campaigned hard last time, but because of two reasons, basically, he could not succeed. Because some of the voters here in the UK thought that he is a backstabber. He stabbed in the back of Boris Johnson, so he was not as loyalist as Liz Truss. So that is number one. Number two, I will not hesitate from saying that racism still exists in every country, to be honest, and there is a bit of racism as well. There are other third thing, because he was clear in his views. He has profound economic knowledge. He knows that there is a profound economic challenge as well, but he knows how to steer the economy. And he had the experience of being the exchequer or chancellor in the government. His response to the pandemic lockdowns, creating from scratch the furlough scheme, FURLOUGH, the furlough scheme, which is the state-funded subsidy for almost 11 million, which is about 1.1 crore British worker. So he had had the experience, and he knows whatever it takes, he will succeed. And that is what he famously said during the pandemic. So it is very, very clear that he knows he has the training, he is young, he is dynamic. You know, like me, today morning, I got up at 5 o'clock to do interviews. And when he was an MP, his former leader, William Hague, asked at 11 o'clock in the night, would you like to meet at 5:30 in the morning the farmers? And he said, yes, I'll be there. He was working till 11:30 in the night, and he got up for 5 o'clock to meet the farmers. Because if you know, Yorkshire, his constituency is a constituency of farmers, the British farmers. So he wanted to know how milk comes from a cow and all those kind of things. So he knows how farming is done.
He's extremely dynamic. You know, he's very active, like you mentioned. He has proved his mettle, and that's why he is where he is. But so, you know, Dr. Yukteswar, you'd agree that he's taking over at a very challenging time. So what would you say would be the immediate challenges that Rishi Sunak has? And, you know, a lot of people look up to him as somebody who has the answers to it all. So what is the plan ahead for the United Kingdom? Because the challenges are aplenty. The economic crisis, the labour shortage, in fact, even politically speaking, to ensure that there is political stability as well. That's somewhere where he's facing a challenge as well.
Yes, political stability is what is most important for any country. He understands it. And that's why he said, unite or die, to us or to the Conservative Party members, MPs, councillors, mayors, and everybody. And we all are rallying behind him. When you talk about the economic challenges, there's no doubt, because of the war mainly, and because of the energy price guarantee scheme. That is what he has told during his chancellorship time, and he is willing to give subsidy to help the homes and to the business to cope with higher gas and electric bills. I'm sure you know Britain is cold. It is getting colder, and people have problem of eating or heating. I repeat, eating or heating. He understands the problem. Okay. That's why he is giving subsidies. So he is cautious about these problems, and he is offering beyond anything. He has already said that if your energy bill will be not more than £4,000 in any case in a year. So there are challenges like the tax credits, the pensions, and we can go in many kind of minute details. Inflation, 10.1%. Mortgage, I had a mortgage of 1.2%. Now my mortgage after next year for buying a house, I mean, already I had the house, will be more. So these are the challenges, but he is a person of economics. He knows how to resolve this.
Okay, all right. Let's also talk about what that means for India. You know, you spoke about the challenges that he has in the United Kingdom. India is also looking forward to Rishi Sunak being at the helm with Prime Minister Modi, saying that he's looking forward to working closely with him. So, Pinak Ranjan Chakravarty, if you can talk to us about what this means for India. Of course, Boris Johnson was also somebody who had a special connect with India. Is that going to be carried forward, or do you think it's only going to get better with Rishi Sunak being at the helm?
Well, I think it will be business as usual. We are not going to, neither he nor us are going to treat him because he's a Prime Minister of Indian origin. Yeah. I think the country's interests will be uppermost in his mind, as it is in ours. So I do not think that this is going to make much of a difference, that he is of Indian origin. We will deal with him as if he's the Prime Minister of UK, and he'll have to deal with us as India and a foreign country, and with Prime Minister Modi as India's Prime Minister. But I do expect that some positive things could happen, but I'm not sure whether it will happen very quickly, because his challenges are mainly domestic.
Yes.
And of course, it's linked to external factors. They need markets. After all, after Brexit and the war in Ukraine, things have gone downhill for Europe as well as UK. And it's a double whammy for UK really after Brexit. UK had thought that it will probably get good deals in trade, etc., from the rest of the world, but that has not happened. And India-UK trade talks are still going on. negotiations are still going on, and it's a hardball exercise in the sense that both countries will want to get what they want. Of course, it has to be mutually beneficial, otherwise you don't get a deal. So I think that's the trend that I see, and I think there's all this hype in the media about him being an Indian is going to make any impact on our bilateral negotiation.
Okay, all right. The US President Joe Biden had said that it's a groundbreaking milestone, and it really is. He has, of course, made history by becoming the first Indian origin Prime Minister. Whether that's going to have an effect on the India-UK relations or not, like you mentioned, not so much. But Achal Malhotra, even in the run-up to the campaign, it's a big milestone, yes, but it was also peppered with a lot of challenges, including the fact that there was a bias that was working against him, whether it is a background that he came from, whether it was, the heritage. So these are some of the challenges that he faced to reach where he is today and to be at the helm in the United Kingdom.
Yes, of course, but we should also take into account the point that he has had a meteoric rise in his political life, which he started in the real earnest only in 2015. And within a span of 7 years, to become the Prime Minister of the country, I think it's a very big achievement. Now, going to your question, yes, when for the first time he was in the race, much before that, there was a talk about Rishi Sunak being the prime ministerial candidate. And even then, a systematic campaign had already started against him when questions were being asked about the tax evasion, alleged tax evasion by his wife, etc., etc. So obviously there were lobbies working against him. But ultimately, I think what is good is that the vice senses prevailed and the elite, even the elite within the political system of the Conservative Party has come to realize that Britain has to rise above, these petty considerations of origin, the race, the color, and other things, and they must reward the merit. And there is an overwhelming assessment that if in the current scenario, if somebody can get the country out of the difficult situation, the best bet is Rishi Sunak. And that's why after experimenting with, Liz Truss and realizing that it doesn't work, second time I think there has been a conscious effort to ensure that this kind of rift within the party doesn't get reflected, and party is already becoming a kind of a laughing stock. So all that they have got over, and on the origins also, let me say, yes, he is Hindu. Yes, he has Indian genes. But at the end of the day, he's a British product. He was born in Britain, brought up in the British society, studied there. His personality evolved. Yes, he's married to an Indian, follows Hinduism, believes in his, faith.
Yes.
And by the way, I just want to point it out. Look at various reports of the BBC, Reuters. They are not describing him as an Indian origin prime minister. They say he's a British Asian. You see, this was going to work in somehow in future. Right now he's the best choice, and I'm glad he's there where he is.
Yes.
He has tremendous challenges ahead of him. Political stability, bringing about unity in the country, addressing the most difficult task, which is the economic part of it. And I think after that, probably we can think in terms of how he will take further India-UK relations. First parameter probably would be how soon we can have a free trade agreement, or how he will be able to handle the kind of mindset which the former Home Secretary Braverman had about the Indians being the largest community who overstay their visas in UK, and the largest segment of illegal migration. So if these kinds subtly are addressed in the near future, or maybe a little later, then we would get to see how his being in power is going to augur well for the Indo-UK relations.
Of course,
Over
immediate concern would be the domestic challenges that he has: surging inflation, the ongoing strike, health crisis and war in Europe. The UK's incoming Prime Minister, of course, faces all of these major challenges, as well as some bitter rifts within the Conservative Party as well. But let's also look at some of the controversies that Rishi Sunak has been requesting our guests to stay on with us.